All right, good morning. My name is Dennis Davin. I'm the Secretary of the Department of Community and Economic Development, and it is great to be here today sharing the stage with brilliant minds and a valued partner, Carnegie Mellon University, and also innovation stakeholders, a lot of you folks in the audience, to present the recommendations and findings of a project focusing on Pennsylvania's innovation economy. This project was led by a student team at Carnegie Mellon University's Heinz School of Information Systems and Public Policy. In collaboration with DCED, this group conducted research that resulted in the development of not only this report, but a web dashboard, recommendations, and a user guide to support replicating this report on an annual basis. Their work has provided us with a valuable guide to support the Wolf administration's continued efforts to boost Pennsylvania's role in a modern, technology-driven economy and capture specific opportunities we have that develop on our existing strengths. In fact, the governor's proposal in January of last year to fuel innovation growth in the Commonwealth included an exclusive ask for a statewide evidence-based annual innovation report, and that is what inspired the development of this project, which made working with this collaborative with CMU all the more meaningful and personal to us at DCED. And while our Commonwealth has historically been a leader in innovation, we all know that today's economy is rapidly changing into a more modern and technology-driven space, and that means we must keep up. Attracting new businesses to the state, promoting and supporting entrepreneurship and startups, offering quality education opportunities, and strengthening research and development benefits both businesses and communities, and can fuel countless new jobs and opportunities to Pennsylvanians in all 67 counties. While this report includes recommendations where we can improve, it also reminds us of the incredible assets we have at our fingertips to support these efforts. Our extensive network of colleges and universities, our partners at the Ben Franklin Technology Partners, or the BENS, and at the Partnership for Regional Economic Performance, or PREP, our life science greenhouses, and a geographically strategic location on the country's East Coast. Well, we are grateful to CMU's committed work on this report over the past year. They have provided us with an invaluable tool. And I'm very thankful to them. Rick Stafford, who you're going to hear in a moment, has been a great leader with the Heinz School for a number of years. Farnam Jahanian, his great leadership as president of CMU, and his partnership with the public sector on a number of different things that he's worked on and his folks have worked on. We really appreciate that. And Tim McNulty, of course, you know, he was one of us at DCED for a number of years, and we really appreciate his ongoing partnership. I've had the benefit of working with CMU's Heinz School for a number of years, decades, more than one decade, decades. And I think that this report that was done is really one of the best pieces of work I've ever seen come out of CMU. So we're eager to begin this work with our valued partners, many who are here today with us on this critical work and can propel Pennsylvania's innovation economy ahead and help keep the state the best place to live, work, and play. Now, I'm excited to turn things over to the CMU team to share their experiences with you, and I'm pleased to introduce a student member of the team, and I'm sure one of the future leaders of the United States of America, Grace Klein. Thank you. Grace?
Thanks. Thank you, Secretary Davin. And of course, a huge thank you to Steve Diatori, Paul Opio, Deborah Tillett, and Lisa Elliott, Casey Smith, our advisors, and everyone at the state who helped us write this report. Special thanks to those who brought our dashboard, innovation dashboard, to life. It is very, very exciting to know that it is currently live and interactive on the state's website, where it can be of use to policymakers, EDOs, prospective Pennsylvania businesses, and future students. My teammates and I embarked on this project to drive sustainable economic growth in the state, to create family-supporting jobs, to help address national priorities, and ultimately to improve everyday lives. With this report, we've helped capture, as the Secretary mentioned, the state's assets, which can help achieve these goals. Again, many strong colleges and universities, EDOs like PREP and the BFDPs, and the state's ability to attract tech companies and tech workers, as well as other companies in life sciences, data analytics, robotics, etc. It was an honor to do this bit of public service for the Commonwealth, and I believe it didn't cost you guys a thing, so now we know why you love your students so much. Of course, we collaborated on this big undertaking entirely over Zoom. We're all familiar. I have my teammates to thank for making the process smooth and, dare I say, even fun at times. So my co-authors who are here today are Emily Reese, Dimitra Kortsidis, and Sarah Perry. And Xinyi He and David Robusto, the other two students who worked with us, could not be here today. Finally, we are grateful to our advisor, Rick Stafford, Heinz College professor of public policy, who I am pleased to introduce. Rick was our cheerleader, editor, and Pennsylvania historian all in one. More formally, he was the CEO of the Allegheny Conference on Community Development and the chief of staff to Governor Dick Thornburgh. He also runs a small family farm in Greene County. Rick, all yours.
Thank you, Grace. Okay, so first of all, I want you to know that they all got A's, they're all graduating, so those nice things that they say about me must really be meaningful. They must be sincere. The second thing I want to say about this team is that we could take all 6 and plant them in state government, and honest to God, they could do a heck of a job for the governor's policy office and onward. It was just remarkable to watch them at work, and they justifiably identified the great cooperation of the secretary and all the other folks that really contributed to this. So it was one of those projects at Carnegie Mellon that we felt really good about because the client and the team came so closely together to produce a really remarkable and meaningful product. I want to say, too, a little personal plug for Carnegie Mellon and the University of Pittsburgh and that end of the state. The Ben Franklin has been extraordinarily important to Pittsburgh. And I think that all of you are aware that we like to think we're way ahead of the game. We've got a lot of work to do with some of those communities left behind. But the fact is that it was the Ben Franklin that brought the University of Pittsburgh and Carnegie Mellon together in 1982 for the innovation economy. Grace credited me with being the historian, so I'll be the historian for a moment. And that's because when the Ben Franklin Partnership was enacted in '82 and the creation of the Ben Franklins, the insistence was that Pitt and Carnegie Mellon, which didn't always get together, by the way, there's a little history to that too, but brought them together in unity to pursue the innovation economy. And I really am excited about the more recent interest in the innovation economy. And that brings me to introducing Mary Jo Daley, who's been a real policy wonk herself during the entire time she's been in the legislature. And I want to give her a little encouragement. One of the things I do in my class is I use case studies. They're like, well, how the heck did that policy come about? How did people join together? Not only the research and development that went into it, which, by the way, I should credit Dr. Walt Placilla, if any of you remember him, a graduate of the University of Pittsburgh, for being a kind of behind-the-scenes architect of the Ben Franklin. When it reached the legislature, this is remarkable now, hold your hat, especially in today's environment, it passed the House with 193 to 0 no votes. Went to the Senate, and by the end of 1982, in December of 1982, I think I'm right, maybe it was November, anyway, it passed the Senate 50 ayes, 0 noes. So I'm really excited again, as I said, about how there's this renewed interest, thanks to Secretary Davin, thanks to the governor, and thanks to folks like Mary Jo. And I hope that bipartisan effort gives her a little extra hope on what might happen next, because she's going to be, I'm sure, one of the leaders in that. And I will pass the baton to her.
Thank you so much, Rick. I actually am aware of what he was talking about just by reading. So I want to say good morning to everyone. I am Representative Mary Jo Daley. I serve the 148th District in Montgomery County, and I'm here today as a state representative and as a board member of the Ben Franklin Technology Development Authority. And I am delighted to join my good friend, Secretary Davin, this morning as the report on Pennsylvania's innovation economy is introduced. Prepared in response to Governor Wolf's 2020 Innovation Initiative, this report was prepared by a team of graduate students from Carnegie Mellon University, Heinz College, School of Information Systems and Public Policy. When you read the report, take time to learn about its authors. In his acknowledgement of their work, Governor Wolf credits this talented and forward-thinking group of students and graduates for laying out the reasons to recognize Pennsylvania's great potential in the innovation economy. And thankfully, the team was not shy in identifying shortcomings in innovation across the state and providing measures we can take to focus on areas with the greatest needs. The take-home message is that while Pennsylvania ranks among the top third of states, it is losing ground when it is compared to other states. So reading this report through the lens of a state representative and as a BFTDA board member, I know that Pennsylvania was an early leader in supporting an innovation economy. And back in 1982, agreement that a collaboration of higher education institutions and industry could result in economic activity brought a Republican governor and a bipartisan General Assembly together to create the Ben Franklin Technology Partners, which still provides investment support and infrastructure to technology-oriented companies and research institutions. And unfortunately, during the 2008 recession, cuts were made to the Ben's budget, and the budgets have never been restored to their original levels. If the innovation economy dynamic is that winner takes most, Pennsylvania must regain its edge to ensure that we stay competitive with other states. And why is this important? Here are three quick reasons that the report provides. First, Pennsylvania's population is aging with the 7th highest number of seniors in a United States state. Second, the COVID-19 pandemic caused the public, private, and nonprofit sectors to shrink, many workers losing their jobs. And third, a census survey conducted earlier this year reported that 10% of Pennsylvania adults did not have enough to eat, 20% were behind on rent, and 31% were having difficulty covering usual household expenses. Pennsylvania's economy needs a boost. It's time for Pennsylvania to take the steps needed to revive its innovation economy. This report provides a path that can be supported in a bipartisan manner. It should be updated annually to measure results and to reinforce the idea that innovation, the result of a new idea becoming a product or process at a large enough scale to change how we live, is a principal driver of regional prosperity. So I want to say thank you to Secretary Davin and the team for your insight and your thoughtfulness. And now I am pleased to introduce David Hickethier. David?
Thank you, Representative Mary Jo. So good morning, and welcome to Infrastructure Week. Actually, I think that's a future press event. Sorry, my notes got switched here, but I want to thank Secretary Davin as well as Governor Wolf and his incredible team for inviting Yale Culture to participate in today's event. Now, George Shaw was in this single case wrong. Youth is not wasted on the young. Today's Innovation Economy report was absolutely incredible, and just pleased to share the stage with the students that made it happen. So it was wonderful to read. So thank you to Grace and Emily, David and Sarah, Dimitra and Singyi. This approach, bringing those closest to the problem and collaborating directly with experts, mirrors how we work at And Culture. I grew up at Milton Hershey School, just down the road, and my experience there taught me that everyone deserves the opportunity to be loved and to excel. When I founded the design firm Ant Culture, I took pride that we were rooted in community, and I wanted to nurture emerging ideas and bring them to life, which is in part the process of innovation. Human-centered design is at the core of the Ant Culture way. What do I mean by that? When we're working with hospitals, our primary contact might be physicians, but we understand that our ultimate focus is on patients. When partnering with schools, yes, we're in close dialogue with teachers, but we center students. And when we're tasked to work with government agencies on workforce development, we're looking at modernizing systems, never forgetting that we're there to improve the experience of job seekers. Our Catamaran division is a startup studio. While most VCs inject capital into fledgling firms, our value add has been creative capital. We've most recently launched Loop to focus on helping hybrid workforces find their ideal workday as we look at an entirely new way of coming to work or not coming to work, depending on where we are. Not only do we work with startups, but we transform legacies. In the case of PA CareerLink, we recognized that especially over COVID, workforce training had not only to work, but to be more empathetic. This exhaustive report captures the urgency to double down support for both women-owned businesses and startups led by BIPOC entrepreneurs in terms of both financial investment and technical expertise. At Ant Culture, we've been working with partners to ready the launch for our Avenue grant and support program for BIPOC startup founders. There's much work to be done. The report also makes a convincing argument that we need to widen our aperture. It's not just our largest cities which require infrastructure like public transportation and broadband, not to mention venture and creative capital. Innovation demands agility. Over the course of COVID, University of PA's Perelman School of Medicine became a global center for coronavirus research. The Everyone Online program at University of Pittsburgh turns its cathedral of learning into a giant antenna that provided desperately needed Wi-Fi to school children in the area. And the Scranton Fringe Festival proved the adage that the show must go on, performing safely in storefronts while the audience listened via wireless headphones. We call these civic hacks. In the spring of 2020, Ant Culture partnered with a local startup, Pledge It, to launch Grub for Scrubs, raising money to support our local restaurants who in turn cooked meals for our frontline healthcare workers. It was Peter Drucker who said, "You manage what you measure." The dashboard that these students have created will enable the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to track innovation according to 40 metrics and to evaluate success and failure of what is funded. The real-time feedback will translate into policy. While challenges lie ahead, I am thrilled by the very real potential we have to spark a statewide innovation economy. We've been a pace-setting leader before where innovation is concerned, and I know that we must meet the moment yet again. It's one of transformation, and this report is the beginning of this new chapter. Thank you. Hand it back to you.
Okay, thank you. And I know this is really structured because we're streaming this live, but if everybody wouldn't mind giving a round of applause to these folks right here and all the great work that they did. Thank you. And one of your goals should be that as you go through your life and through work and whatever career you decide to go, is to get a round of applause every once in a while. So the folks that worked on it in our shop at DCED, could you please stand up? We have Deb, we have Paul, we have Lisa, we have all those, Steve. Thank you, guys. Thanks for all the great work that you guys have done. Thank you, thank you. Are there any questions from anybody in the audience? Any questions at all? This is live, the report is live, or it's going to be live on our website, so please take the time to look at it. And thank you again for everything that you've done, Rick. Please thank President Jahanian and everything that you guys have done. Thank you so much. Thank you.